This is It's Gonna Be Okay with Dr. Roseann, and today we are talking about the negativity bias and really, is your negativity impacting your child? It happens. The number one way we learn to parent is how we were parented, and every generation changes. Many parents believe in a disciplinary model, and that means pointing out all the things you're doing wrong. Yeah, I'm sure that resonates with a lot of people. We think we're being helpful when we're like, don't do that. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. And when we go to raise our own kids, we have every intent to be doing something different. And our subconscious, which is driving the bus, 95 to 99.5% of the time, your subconscious is in charge. And so that history, all of that upbringing, and like in my own family, I always talk about all the awesome things I learned about, from my own parents, Tony and Philomena. But there's a different way of doing things in today. And we now know more about the best ways to parent a kid's brain so that they can be self-regulated and happy and healthy. So let's talk a little bit about how negativity is affecting your parents. So I always want to talk really first, what is this negativity bias? So first of all, we are wired to see negativity. It goes back to the time of the cavemen where everything was danger, alert, watch out, And so we can in 1/4 a second can see a negative, 20 seconds to see a positive. And that means we have to work that much harder to help our kids who are neurodivergent, who have mental health issues, who are, a curmudgeon, who are wonderful but different, all these things, right? And you can have any one of those and love your kids to the moon and back, right? One of my all-time favorite books. And it means that we have to be more of A-game parents to get that reinforcement in and to teach them. Yeah, I know. Sometimes parents are really annoyed and frustrated by that, but that's okay. I promise you that the more you do it, the better it will get, the easier it will get, and also the more awesome these human beings are as they get older. And parenting will get easier. When I sat back and my friends were like having all the teenage drama, I was like, I already did that starting at age 2, It just became easier. I don't want anybody to have any bad parenting experience, but everybody does. Kids are not perfect, nor should they be, for crying out loud. So let's talk about, so that negativity bias, we are wired to see the negative. We have to work harder to see the positive. And let's talk about where this actually comes from for us, as parents, right? So we got it from our peeps. We got it from our mama and papa. And many parents were authoritarian, meaning punitive, focusing on the negative. And it's really hard unless you're pulling something into your conscious awareness, which you now know only occurs to 5 to 0.05% of the time we're in conscious awareness, is your conscious is in charge. I know that's really shocking to people. It's so interesting. There's so many fun things about me, but one of the fun things about me is I've actually had training by government agencies to detect lying. Yeah, it's a great party trick. As well as I love to interview people, but your subconscious shows up in when you're talking. And that's when, if anybody loves a good crime show like I do, me and my friends, we love them. That's why the interviewer really is able to get most people to squeal unless you're a psychopath. And even then, you can't break a lie detector and things like that. So, and I bring this up because our subconscious will always reveal the truth, right? And it will always kind of like, if you let your guard down and you move into a subconscious state, you'll fall back in negative patterns, right? So you have to be aware, like, wow, I just told my kid, stop touching your sister 20 times and he still didn't get it. So why don't I do something different? Wow, I really love how you two are playing this game. Even if right? And it has to be authentic. It has to be genuine. You can't say that if he's like, it's a WE match. But what you can say is like, hey, Fred, I know this is a little hard for you right now, but I see that you're trying and I really like it. Awesome. What else could you be doing right now? We have to get their brain to alert differently. But how did we get into this, right? So, one, we had modeling from our world around us. Like, it doesn't mean your parents weren't amazing and they were loving. This is what was the pattern. This is we're knowing better, right? Again, Tony and Philomena did a lot of great things. They also did some things that, needed some therapy from me, to get over, including if anybody is Italian or Hispanic, it's firstborn son, Jesus, maybe everybody else, and then your daughters. So, we get caught in patterns and we have to be aware and learn to break them, right? So, reinforcing the wrong things. So your parents may have reinforced or you are reinforcing, right? Communication, just negative experiences, feeling unsafe in your own. And sometimes our kids are trigger in and of themselves, especially when you have aggressive and violent kids and angry kids in any way, shape, or form, whether it's verbal or physical. We can fall back on patterns that are really subconscious for us in these triggers. We need to be aware. Like, if you're meeting your kid with anxiety, you're sharing your anxiety, you're sharing your anger instead of your calm. You need to put your own oxygen mask on and be like, why is my kid triggering my stuff? Right. Maybe you have perfectionism. If you ever heard me tell the story of the lady who was like really pissed at her 4-year-old because she couldn't make her bed. And I was like, expectations are not really true of what that is. Like, I'd like to know, like, maybe even a 10-year-old who can do a good job making a bed. How about they made their bed and they tried? Like, we had to do a lot of deep work on that, right? Just fear of failure. And of course, just emotional dysregulation of yourself or your child. These are all reasons why we can get stuck in a negative pattern as parents. And how does this affect parenting? I mean, really, it can destroy your parenting experience. And I have people that come to me all the time, as you know, from all over the world. And this was like International Week, where people came from all kinds of countries and different states this week, all week. I don't think I had any local people come. And, it's so fascinating because it happened to be that I had these people that really, were in a place where they were like, okay, either they had accepted that this mental health thing wasn't going to go away and they had to prioritize it. But I also had the privilege of having people in who were like, oh, this is like our number one priority. Like, and they've had restructured their lives to really support their very complex cases of kids, which kind of leave you no choice. But I also had people this week where it was more mild, that they were like, oh no, we're going to nip this because, we saw my mom struggle with this, or my kid needs tools and resources, whatever the reason. And so what makes them different? What makes them successful? And what, in even their experience within our program is they just have this positive, it's going to be okay attitude. And for them, of course, they experience worry. Of course, they experience fear, but they don't let the fear stop them from moving forward. And when negativity sets in, you really are not seeing things accurately, right? I mean, I had a situation where, and this happens all the time. So this is a lot of my work is actually about removing the negativity bias of the parents. And in fact, it really slows down their kids' progress. And so very common situation, I had somebody who their child made 50% progress and reduction of their OCD in a very short amount of time. And that parent, who wouldn't want 50% reduction? It was pretty severe OCD. Basically was us or inpatient. That's what it was. So they chose to do this. They literally could only see that there were still issues and was furious, furious would be the word that those issues were still there and words were, I don't have time for this. This is not convenient. Well, guess what? Who has time for this? And maybe that's an extreme example, but we all feel like that at times where this is annoying and frustrating and all of those things. Even our neurotypical kids, we were laughing this week about my friend's son is much younger, and I was like, oh, are they talking about Minecraft and the guy Steve talking about Minecraft on YouTube? And she was like, oh girl, I don't allow no YouTube. And I was like, thank God. And just a normal thing. Like it was cute, and you have to pretend, you know what I'm talking about, you Minecraft parents. You have to pretend like you're interested. But my younger one is so easy that I would be like, John Carl, mommy's gonna pretend that she's listening to you. And then I'm going to fall asleep. And then I would go like that. And he would just crack up all the time. And I was like, seriously, this is so boring. Can we talk about something else? Now, he's the kind of kid, he can handle that. And, I let him talk about it. But we can be negative. We can be caught up in our own anxiety. And this is not an easy road. This is a conversation about breaking that negativity so that you can help your child focus more on the positive, see the positive. And boy, when you have a negatively wired kid, again, you can meet them with that negativity, or you can meet them with positivity and calm. And we all know that when we try our best for that, the outcome is very different. Again, it's not easy, but it starts with you understanding, why did that negativity happen? Even Dr. Rose had to go to therapy for some of that stuff, right? Favoritism, not fun, right? And still exists today. That's okay. I'm going to tap on that, right? Any of my fellow Italians know what it is, but that's okay. You have to love I think when you get to a certain point, you just have to have radical acceptance of your family of origin. Otherwise, you're going to be upset. Healthy boundaries, radical acceptance. I really recommend it. But whatever is holding you back from being more positive, that's your own inner work. Don't put that shit on your kids, people. Okay? Like really tough talking with Dr. Rowe. Don't do it. And I have to say that is the biggest Achilles heel, is that fear and negativity that happens with parents just because of this stressful experience, of course, but think about all those reasons why. What did I bring to the table? What can I remove that is cumbersome, right? What can I really help to better my family life and create that calm brain, happy family for every single person in your house, including you? So we're going to continue this conversation. This is a two-parter, and we're going to talk about strategies on just how to do that.